This morning, my office filed a first-degree murder charge against David G. Youngerman for the fatal shooting that occurred on October the 25th, 2017, of attorney Tom Pickert. David Youngerman, in addition to the murder in the first-degree count, also faces a count of armed criminal action. Both of those levy substantial sentences upon conviction. Now, these charges were filed just minutes ago after a Jackson County judge signed the arrest warrant. I'm going to walk through a little bit because this statement is a little bit long. I'd like to walk through a little bit of the facts of this case. Today marks more than 5 months since Thomas Pickert's murder in front of his Brookside home. And during that time, the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, especially the folks stand behind me, alongside me, they have worked extremely hard. This homicide squad in particular has worked incredibly hard. I cannot thank them enough, but I'd like to thank their commanders as well, who have supported them along the way, given them the resources that they need to get this case solved. And I'd like to extend beyond the commanders, even the officers on the street who represent this most impressive police department. I want to also recognize Chief Rick Smith, whose duty sent him away this afternoon. He expected to be here, but could not. And so I want to thank his leadership as well. Now, of course, they're not alone. I want to recognize some individuals in my office as well, not by name, but they know who they are. But for their tireless work as well, willing to work weekends and evenings through significant events in their own personal lives. That's how jointly we stand here today, is because of that team effort and that willingness to do what it takes, whatever it takes, to solve cases and to get charges at this podium. Now, you've already been given the charging documents and a probable cause statement, and so here's some of the highlights, I think, from that charge. KCPD officers responded at about 8:07 a.m. on October the 25th to a Kansas City, Missouri residence. At that time, they found the victim's body, Tom's body, on the front walk. He had been shot once by a 17 caliber bullet. Before the actual shooting, a local lawyer had obtained a jury verdict in the amount of $5.75 million against Youngerman of Raytown, Missouri. And this local lawyer, of course, Tom, did this on behalf of his client, winning that verdict. The day before the murder, Youngerman was served property liens by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Also important in that document is the mentioning of a white van. It's important for you to know that a white van was tracked traveling from very near Raytown, Missouri, to the victim's neighborhood. The defendant owns a white van, and he also told media that no one used his van that day and that no one else had keys but him to that vehicle. A witness, an individual who's simply walking his dog in the neighborhood, the victim's neighborhood that morning, told police that he saw an older white man with gray hair standing behind an idling white van. The man then parked that van directly across the victim's house, across the street from the victim's house. And this witness also stated that that man wore khaki pants and a tan jacket darker than those pants. The fatal bullet was identified as a 17 caliber round. I think many would tell you that is a relatively rare caliber. On March 8, 2018, a search warrant was obtained for the defendant's car. And under the passenger seat was found an unspent 17 caliber bullet. A witness told police that he had a conversation with the defendant in March of 2018. And during that conversation, the defendant, Youngerman, stated that he had killed a lawyer with a gun and had gotten away with it. He did it because the lawyer stole his money. Recently, Police executed search warrants at the defendant's home and his business. And at his business, police found a printout from the Jackson County Property Tax Database. It showed the victim's home address. And then an Olympus audio recorder with a recording was recovered. The first part of the recording captured a court hearing that the defendant attended in another jurisdiction in November of 2017. But after the hearing, the recorder continued to run. And later, the defendant talked to his employee about a 17 caliber rifle and about the killing of the victim. And that is laid out in your probable cause statement. Our office has asked that this defendant continue to be held without bond on this case as well. I think it is important to mention there are many important people here today, but I want to underscore this fact. I am aware that other homicides in this county remain unsolved and therefore uncharged. It is my desire, and I know the desire of this police department, to have those victims' families stand with me at this podium and that we seek justice on their behalf as well. So many of us in this business are driven by our advocacy of victims and our desire to receive some measure of justice on their behalf.